Dion Branch of the New England Patriots several years back took 22 of our children on a Christmas shopping spree to Bob's and allowed them to spend $300 each on clothing and a few toys, make sure they had their boots, coats, and we was cashing out. And we had a young girl, 10-year-old girl, who started to cry as Dion was paying the bill because she thought that Dion Branch would not have any leftover money for himself and that Dion Branch was spending all of his money. And his bill might have been around $6,000. So what it showed was the sensitivity and the heart and the compassion that even a 10-year-old child would have about how people are spending their money on Tannerhill.
So the next school year starts July 1st through September 12th. We'll have our 2 inspections during that time.
The financial landscape has changed tremendously over the past 2 decades. When I started here in '89, we had one house with 8 boys in it. We were just opening up this house, and which quickly filled up with 8 girls. And we had stacks of referrals. To now, in 2011, we do have 3 homes, but one is about to close, which is the girls' house. We only have 1 girl in the house, and we haven't had a referral since March of 10. Christmas donations were down. Nobody even called us up to give us Easter baskets for the children. And it's the sign of the times.
For the last 4 years, we've been basically flat funded. And this year, we're going to be facing a reduction in the daily rate per child.
Currently, residential care in Rhode Island has changed into a 90-day maximum treatment model that separates at-risk children versus unsafe children, and the goal is to move kids into families, into reunification at a much faster pace.
We're actually working close with the state to really understand what direction that the state and their needs are going in. And then we'll take that information back, and Clark will basically take it back and work with his team to see what does that mean for Tannerhill as we stand now versus what we need to do in the future.
Shirley, you could give us a DCYF update from that meeting?
Currently, there's like 752 kids in placement right now, and the goal is to reduce that number by 300 kids.
Things have changed over the past 20 years, and a lot of it is funded from the state and how the state's funding and how their pattern has changed.
We have contracts with the state. That's one place we get some funding. We also have to do fundraisers. We need to rely more on the private sector, corporations. Diversified funding is creating as many avenues as we can to find ways for people to support Tannerhill.
I think it's important that the leadership of the organization and the executive director and some of the board members, that they're really aware of the curve and ahead of the curve, and so they're adaptable to the changing conditions.
It's been a struggle, and and a lot of our employees, I have to call them saints because they've stuck with us through this process. We just recently had a situation in September 9 where we were in a scenario we were about not to be able to make a payroll. We have a line of credit, we've exceeded that, and here we are.
When you donate to Tannerhill, you and your money are going towards giving kids a future. You're giving them a shot, you're giving them the resources they need, you're helping them feel like normal children.
When they're able to let loose, whether it's playing a basketball game outside with staff, whether it's a planned activity out in the community, or getting that A on a math test, when you see the sparkle in their eyes and you sit for a moment, that's how they should feel.
And after everything they've gone through, they need to be made to feel like they are special kids, just like all children are special. And your money's going to go towards giving them a future. And without your money and your support, they're not going to have one.